Now, on the means test, if you have a greater amount than the median income for a family of your size, now, median income for a family of your size, what is that? If you're a single individual, it's almost $50,000. It's right around a little under $48,000. And here's an interesting point. The median income has dropped every year for the last 3 years. Ain't it great? That should tell you a little bit about our economy if you haven't figured out how our economy is already doing. Okay. So, if you're above, now, above they typically are looking at what's your gross income. So if they take your paychecks and they'll look at how much money you made. So I want to make this one little point here. If you are self-employed, they're looking at your net business income after business expenses. So let's say you've got the little grocery store, you've got a little donut shop or something like this. What is the cost of running the donut shop and what are your gross receipts? So if you bring in $20,000 a month over the counter, but it costs you $15,000 a month to run the donut shop in supplies and energy and maintenance of equipment, cost of replacing items in the kitchen, cost of the dough and the batter and the sugar and the milk and the eggs, etc., and also the cost of the lease on the store. It might cost you $15,000 just to run a donut shop. So if you're making $5,000, we're looking at $5,000. What's your $5,000 is your gross income? Okay, you still got to pay taxes on that, right? So then 5,000 times 12 months is $60,000 a year. If you're a family of 2 or 3, you're already going to be below. Okay, so. But just assuming, whatever it is you're making, whatever job you're doing, if your income is above the median income for a family of your size, this is easy enough to look up. You can go to the United States Department of Justice's website and look it up right there. They'll list what the median income is for your state. Okay, it does vary from state to state. I'm in California. The median income here in California has a really interesting, Hollywood basically has a really interesting effect on the median income. It's higher than Alabama, significantly, okay? You'd think, well, does that mean in Alabama they have a lot more people who don't qualify end up in a Chapter 13 payment plan? I don't know. I'm not from Alabama. You'll have to ask an attorney from Alabama. Okay, median income if you're above it. Then they're running through this 8-page test to see if you qualify for Chapter 7. You see, what they do is they whittle down your gross income based on expenses that are allowed if you're talking to the IRS and you're trying to get a better deal out of the IRS. You owe the IRS, say, $50,000, you want to pay them 15 or 20. They look at your income, they look at your expenses, they see how much is left over at the end of the month, and when they're looking at your income, there are some things that they don't take into account. For instance, on your deductions off of your paycheck, if you have a loan, a 401k loan, they're not going to count it. You don't get to deduct it off of your check. If you have a 401k plan coming out of your check, they don't count that coming out of your check. So they are going to count, part of the expenses over here that are allowed. They are going to count the payroll deductions that are coming out of your check.